Hello, everybody. Welcome back to John versus episode 12. This week, we're wrapping up a series here on John versus one of the greatest horror trilogies of all time. Joining me to close out this, unless they do a part 4, but joining me to close out this movie trilogy today, Mr. Malcolm Lay. Malcolm, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. This was a movie, but I watched the other two parts just to give myself this.
Just to get the context, the rich story of these three movies. If you've been watching the past 2 weeks, you know we're covering the Jack and Jill trilogy. So this is Jack and Jill 3, Hills Run Red.
There hasn't been a murder on this hill for the last 10 years.
I know about the siblings. They're probably dead now.
A murder hasn't taken place in these hills for 10 years, which means we're completely safe and there's nothing to worry about.
Only people with a death wish would dare spend the night here at Newberry Hill.
You don't actually believe your story, do you? Lived like animals. They learned to kill like animals.
Each contestant is wearing a camera.
You have to find the book. You want us to go into the hills.
Bruce and Ava, they're not gonna let us get killed out here, so let's just go and find that book before the boys do.
Is anyone there?
Split up and find that book. The moment we do, we're out of here.
Finally.
I did not sign up for this.
Actually, you did.
There are dead bodies about that.
What? No, I am not staying here. Please don't hurt me. I'll do anything you want.
I don't say this too often on this show, but even the trailer to that movie is horrible. That is like, they usually do a good job with the box art and they usually do a good job with the trailers. That trailer was garbage.
Yeah, that trailer was bad. Like, it's also the classic thing of showing the entire movie in the trailer. It's like they didn't want you to see it.
They didn't just show like every kill in the movie. They included kills from the last movie. Like there's clips that aren't from this movie in that trailer. There's stuff from Jack and Jill 2 in that trailer. But anyway, like when we last left Jack and Jill, Joe, the mother of Eden from part 1, was with them and is their new mother. Now, which is another trope of these Jagged Edge movies, we clearly jump only by dialogue 10 years into the future, 10 years from the present into the future. So now we're in, I guess, 2033, but everything looks exactly like 2023. All the technology is exactly the same. We're still using GoPros.
Hey, do you mind pulling that at me for an intro? Thanks. Now, welcoming newly recruited members to the Bloody Bones family. Are you guys excited?
And there haven't been murders on the hills for 10 years. They don't explain why, because they think Jack and Jill are dead. However, as we see in the cold open, they are very much alive. Malcolm, your initial thoughts when you started watching the movie?
It's like I really had no thoughts because it's just one of those ones I thought, oh yeah, maybe this chick is working for Jack and Jill and trying to jug this other chick. I don't think it was just it went as there, but it was probably it was one of those ones like, yeah, they're gonna have sex, they're going to be murdered. So yeah.
Yeah, like this is another thing. They kicked over directing responsibilities to Louisa Warren, who is extremely prolific in this sub genre of British garbage movies. She did, I believe, all 5 Tooth Fairy movies, along with a bunch of other movies. And I guess her major thing was, hey, I know Jagged Edge ITN is not a big proponent of including sex scenes in your movies, but what if we just did the most PG rated simulated sex and they just put this all over the movie?
Christ, finally. You know what they call that?
Good TV.
That's right. Good TV.
There's a lot of like mid-chest up shots of people who are experiencing receiving a sexual act from somebody else with where you can't see anything else going on. Malcolm, your thoughts on the inclusion of sex positive scenes in the Jack and Jill franchise?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those ones like I think they're just playing to every horror trope. There's like of having sex and being murdered, but it's like one of those ones like it's also the most fake looking sex scenes as well. So,
Yeah,
it's one of those ones like not that I'm well versed in like lesbian love making and all that, but even that just looked really fake.
yeah. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. The cold open of this movie is a May-November romance between a woman and another girl who is clearly her student. So we are giving positive vibes to basically abusing a situation of power where a woman in a position of power is coercing a girl into a lesbian relationship. So they're on a romantic date in the hills where she plies her with alcohol. And then this girl who they go to great lengths to say she's a virgin. I am not totally buying it that she is, just given how she looks and how she's dressed. not that don't take this the wrong way. I don't necessarily think that that you should be able to judge a person by how they're dressed, but see the movie if you dare and tell me that girl is supposed to be a virgin. I don't think so. Malcolm.
I mean, and given how quick she was to start, it's like
Yeah.
she has to have had some experience.
Just like Malcolm, I am not a lesbian. I have never been in a lesbian relationship, but I do think with the gusto that she proceeds to perform cunnilingus on the other woman, with no instruction, just goes for it. If you've never done it before, I don't think that's what happened. But like Malcolm alluded to, we're into the old trope. If you're having sex in a slasher movie, you're going to die. Jack and Jill just show up. Like they're supposed to be gone for 10 years, even though there's still fresh missing posters that are on a rock that would have gotten rained on 1,000 times, and those posters would have been washed away. They have sex in that area. Jack and Jill come. And this is a problem I've seen in a lot of horror movies, so I'm not going to say it's a Jagged Edge thing, but the whole killer is sawing at someone's, like not stabbing them in the neck, sawing at their neck, and they're screaming. And the practical effects, bad. There's a lot of slashed throats, neck injuries in this movie, and it's just like they just paint their necks with no wounds, just with a splattering of red food coloring water. Is that your take on it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and there's a lot. There's a lot of like they. I don't want to say they pay homage. They just do in a shitty fashion that you saw in the trailer. The scene from You're Next when the girl runs out of the house and hits the barbed wire. They recreate that scene in this movie in the absolute most amateurish way possible. And then several other characters were also killed in neck-related injuries. And they keep just going back to the well with the worst practical effects I've seen in a relatively well-known movie studio.
Yeah, and it's also one of those ones like it was multiple times where people being sliced in the neck. It's like, yeah, even realistically, if you've been sliced that much times, like you should have stopped screaming, like probably a few slices early.
Yeah, your head would come off. Your head would just come off.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main, I guess, A plot of this movie is there have not been kills for 10 years in the hills. So why not, just like in Wrong Turn 2, let's create a reality television program around this area, and we're going to get a bunch of contestants. And I don't understand the rules of this game whatsoever. They do a really bad job of explaining it. And one of the two people they have explaining it has one of the thickest Eastern European accents I've heard in some time.
The mother is just one of the many gruesome theories surrounding this once supposed urban legend.
And it's very jarring every time she talks. I don't understand. Did you understand what the rules to the game show were?
All I could get was they had to find a book. Yeah. I honestly had no idea.
Yeah, they didn't set the boundaries or the rules. It's just they just split up and they got to find a book. The book, I guess, could be literally anywhere. It could be in the house, it could be in the road, it could be in the woods, it could be in the hills. And I do believe we switched locations again because now we're not just on hills, we're on like cliffs. We're on like the edge of England somewhere in like a cliff country. So we've moved locations again. We've switched the actresses that played Jill again. Jack, still the same dude. Jill, a third actress in 3 movies to play Jill. And then just we have a cast of characters, which if you couldn't tell by the cold open, is extremely lesbian heavy. There's a lot of lesbian characters in this movie, like way more than average. You have the 2 girls in the cold open. The 2 main girls, it's clearly like an unrequited love lesbian relationship, one's after the other.
What if it's a scam? Like we get there and it's the casting couch or something. Some dicks are.
Then another female character does solicit a 6th at this point female character.
Ruth, what do I have to do to get you to spill all your secrets?
Then you can spill words out with your affections.
I mean, hey, if you hook up with me, I promise you won't give birth to another bad egg.
So, like, if this movie, if you're a lesbian, you're gonna feel real seen if you see Jack and Jill 3, because there's so many characters that you can relate to, I believe.
Yeah, and almost all the characters are largely unlikable. They all do stuff like that's really dick moves.
Yeah, I don't want to give up my drinking game later on, but again, and I don't know if this sets a new bar for these Jagged Edge productions, but like not even like bad decisions, really, just like unrealistic reactions to things that are going on, and just a lack of realism, no matter how dangerous things get, how lackadaisical these characters are in the face of a real life or death crisis.
Yeah, exactly. It was there was one moment I actually had in my head at the moment, might come back to me later, but yeah, it's just really, it's just one of those ones like, yeah, I'll get, it'll probably come back to me eventually. I can't.
Yeah, I mean, like there's more than, and this happened in Jack and Jill too, but there's more than one scene where like a character is killed. However, right, another character finds the body. They're being chased, and instead of just being like, "I'll put a pin in this and come back to this later," and run past the body, they stay at the body and like lament the situation while in view of the dead body, knowing there's a killer behind them, and they just hang out.
Bruce! Oh, God, no.
Until they also get killed. That happens way too much for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, so we have the two show producers, the 2 main characters, Zara and Holly, I believe their names are. Then there's an older woman, a younger goth woman who's wearing like the full-on goth harness, and under her, I believe her name is Pamela. She's in a bunch of Julia Quayle. She's in a bunch of Jagged Edge movies. You have a black gentleman and his girlfriend, and they've been brought on the show to basically have sex on camera, I guess, because there's a scene where he's shot, fully clothed from the chest level up, trying to receive oral sex from his girlfriend, I imagine. That's a big thing. And then there's, it's on camera. It's weird. It's like half Halloween Resurrection, half Wrong Turn 2, all garbage, this movie.
Yeah, and even that subplot of like the whole being paid to have sex, like didn't make all that because you'd think that somehow the girlfriend would have like found the contract or something like beforehand. Or
I don't know how you sign a contract for another person. Like, I'm going to speak for this other adult, and we're going to bring her. And she totally, she is giving away her rights and likeness to the entirety of her body and whatever is done to it in perpetuity throughout the universe to be live streamed over the internet. I think the girl would want to see that contract. I do believe laws are being broken here.
Yeah. And I mean, I think the other thing is I think it was also unclear how much money they're actually winning, because I think the main host said it was $50,000, but then at one point, because I think it was Holly that needed $50,000 for her mum's medical stuff, and then there's one point where she asked Zara, was like, "Oh, what are you going to do with your share?" It's like, well, if the prize of money is $50,000, there wouldn't be any share left to.
Yeah, right. Like, are they splitting it? Are they not? Is it 50? Is it 100? Like the script supervision, as usual, is non-existent. I do know they shoot these movies very quickly over a course of a few days, and I do believe the post process is if they discover any errors, they just leave them in the movie.
Okay. So.
Is basically how it is. So yeah, Jack and Jill are back. There's no explanation as to where Joe went until the end of the movie. Like literally the end of the movie is when they're like, oh, she died.
She left us.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like, they're just by themselves again. And even though she died, they didn't return to killing people. They waited until this reality TV show, which is being live streamed over the internet via every single character having a camera. Yet no one is ever alerted to the fact that they're capturing all of these real murders on camera. And it harkens back to the fact that, wow, I guess the authorities in this region of England really, really, really don't care about human life.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't think it was ever clear if it was whether it was being live streamed or if they were just recording the footage to edit together later.
Well, there's a box in the bottom of the screen where it says live and like which person's camera you're seeing it from. So that is from the point of view of somebody watching the live stream. And then another small thing I noticed, like with the fact, like again, the fact that these posters are out in the open and they're in pristine condition. But there's if you look really closely, some of the posters are of the actors that were in the first two movies, but the names on the missing part don't match the names of the characters that were killed.
Being here.
So like the amount of just like, I don't give a shit, let's put this movie in the can that comes across in this movie is a lot. Like, and I feel that you don't care. So that makes me care even less than nothing about this movie.
Yeah. And I think that the fact that those people were missing, like those people missing for that length of time to keep the posters up, is like you'd think they wouldn't bother putting them up at all anymore.
If no one's been killed for 10 years, that means the posters on that rock have either been there for 10 years or someone has gone through the trouble of coming back to replenish those posters for 10 years. And I don't think that's multiple times per year. Whatever. like logic, who cares? So in pretty conventional fashion, Jack and Jill kill everybody, with the exception of the two main characters. And then they capture them. They willy-nilly kill and capture. So they choose to capture the two girls. And then, Holly, I believe, breaks free. And mortally wounds Jill. I'd say is a fair, because Jill's still alive at the end of the movie, but there ain't no way she's surviving that because she like full on, she gives her the full prison shanking, and then Jack just immediately kills her. And then the movie ends with him forcing the only surviving character to recite the entire Jack and Jill nursery rhyme to Jill. Again, we covered it in the first one. Do they live in a world where the Jack and Jill nursery rhyme is based on them? If so, how would they even know it? They've never left the hills. Or did the nursery rhyme exist and their life is such a coincidence to the nursery rhyme? Also, never explained. Please don't give us a part 4. Malcolm, anything else that I missed that we didn't touch upon?
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else we need to really touch upon. Because I think with the Jack and Jill nursery rhymes, I think in the first movie they were humming the nursery rhyme, so I think that nursery rhyme must exist.
Yeah, it's like, so we're in a universe where it exists and their life just seems to mirror it, but they never really explicitly say that. Well, that being said, we always get to the point of the show where the champ Luis Booth has asked us if to make this movie more enjoyable, because it is not enjoyable. But if you and your friends were to have an evening where you accidentally put this thing on, let's at least give you a drinking game to go along with it. I always let the guests go first, Malcolm. So if you had the opportunity to subject your friends to this movie, but knowing full well they're going to have a bad time, what type of alcohol game would you put around it to ease the blow?
So I've thought of this a few times. Like, it's one of those, not a lot that I could think of, but I think one of them is drink every time they show a scenery shot of the cliffs, and there's a lot of scenery cliff shots.
Yeah, every time they just put in a shot of exactly this has been a recurring theme at least since the last movie. Like, the movies are not long; they are like 77 minutes long or so. Yeah. But if you took out the nature shots, you're getting it down to sub 70 minutes easily. Yeah. My game would be take a shot, because I think you wouldn't die if you just do shots. Take a shot every time a character stands in a position way too long for someone who knows there are killers after them. Because there's so many instances in this movie. Like, I think the absolute worst instance is when the older lady gets to the car, which never happens in horror movies. She gets to the car and she starts the car, and Jack is in front of her, knowing full well this dude is a prolific serial killer. You literally could either A, floor it and run him over, or B, floor it and drive around him, because we're not on like dangerous cliff roads. And she chooses to like drive 5 feet and stop, and then get dragged out of the car and killed.
Fuck you, asshole!
Absolutely, like, beyond this is a horror movie person making a bad decision. We're just in all new territory. But yeah, we watched this movie so you didn't have to. Jack and Jill 3, Hills Run Red, or just Jack and Jill, Hills Run Red. Malcolm, thanks for being here this week. If people want to see more of you, where can they find you here on YouTube or elsewhere?
You can find me on Tavy Productions. We host Rankum every Sunday night. By the time this goes up, we have just done our top 12 sports movies of the 2010s. You can also find me popping up from time to time on the Movie Hero Network, doing tournaments and that. And then I host Full Metal Trivia over on the Full Metal Trivia channel as well.
All right. Well, if you made it this far in the video, like, subscribe, comment, share. You can find us on Facebook. Just type in Why We Love Horror. You'll get all the news in advance of what's happening each week. Or if you're more of a person that likes in bite-sized bits, you can find me on TikTok at WWL Horror, or you can email me if you're very old-fashioned, WWLHorror@gmail.com. Coming up this week, this Thursday, Monday night, myself, Aaron, and Abby will be going to a Scream Unseen viewing at the local AMC. So we don't know what movie we're reviewing You can stay tuned to the webpage. We'll let you know what movie we're reviewing. It will be an unknown movie this week and the following week. And then every Friday, 2 matches. You'll find Why We Love Horror Trivia every Friday night at 8. Until then, this has been John Versus. We appreciate you. Have a great rest of your week.